The room buzzed with mid-level tension, suits adjusting ties, fingers tapping on MacBooks, and that coffee-fueled urgency people confuse for control. It was just another quarterly review, the kind where nothing ever changes until it does. Amara sat quietly at the far edge of the glass table, half shadowed by the projection screen. Her hair was pulled back, her blazer crisp, her expression unreadable. She wasn't there to speak, just to take notes. An extra chair for optics. David Rennick, the regional director, was spitting numbers like they were law. We're lean. We're fast. We're focused. No fluff on payroll. The room chuckled on cue. Then he nodded toward Amara, smirking. And this one? Bright future, if she stays grateful. More chuckles. Amara didn't flinch. She simply minimized her fake notes, revealing what had been open beneath. A spreadsheet. One column was highlighted. A salary figure. Hers. Circled in red. A number that shouldn't have been there. The CFO, who hadn't looked at her once all day, leaned forward. His eyes narrowed. His voice cut through the air like a blade. Why is she paid less? David blinked. I don't think that's the full context. But the CFO had already stood up. The screen flickered, still showing every gap, every lie. And Amara? She just folded her hands and waited. The reckoning had already begun. Amara Bennett had been working at Caldwell Securities for almost 11 months. 11 quiet, overworked, invisible months. She came in early, left late, rarely spoke unless asked, and always took notes, even when it wasn't her meeting. Most assumed she was some kind of assistant. Some thought she was in HR. Few knew she held a double major in quantitative finance and behavioral economics. No one asked. That was the culture. Her desk sat at the far corner of the analytics floor, strategically placed by HR while they figured out her formal onboarding. That was month 3. By month 6, she was still on a probationary salary and assigned to support real analysts, mostly young men from Ivy League schools who took her Excel models, ran them in presentations, and never cited her name. The irony? They often asked her for help before the meetings. Amara, can you double-check this risk curve? Hey, can you debug this sheet? It's throwing errors again. You're good with compliance stuff, right? Mind skimming this clause. She always helped. Always said sure. Not because she was timid, but because she was watching. There were moments. Tells. The way they dismissed her insights in meetings, then adopted them the next day as their own. The way they mispronounced her name when introducing her to clients. The way HR forgot to schedule her salary review. Twice. The way David Rennick, her manager, once said, "You've got great instincts for a non-finance background." She didn't correct him. He hadn't read her resume. Each insult wasn't just a paper cut. It was a cell on her spreadsheet. And Amara was good with spreadsheets. She started keeping one of her own, privately stored, password protected. It logged bonuses, commissions, titles, and tenure across departments. Nothing illegal, just meticulous. Every time someone joked about her being quiet or lucky to be here, she updated a cell. The gaps were obvious. Stark. Black women, underpaid. White men, bigger titles, better raises. She built pivot tables on injustice. But she said nothing. Not yet, because Amara understood one thing better than any of them. Information is leverage. And silence? Silence was just the space before impact. It was a Thursday morning, the kind that starts with stale coffee and ends with someone quitting. Amara had just finalized a reconciliation report flagged for anomalies. Misclassified vendor payments tied to a senior exec. She flagged it via Slack to her team lead. No reply. Later, in a meeting, she brought it up again. David Rennick waved it off. It's probably just legacy billing. Don't waste time chasing shadows. Then came the smile. The one men give when they think they're being generous. You know, Amara, he added, tapping his pen, I think it's time you stop overreaching. You've got a good thing here. Just stick to support roles. Not everyone's cut out for the heavy lifting. The room chuckled. She didn't. That night, she stayed late. Not to finish their reports. To finish hers. She combed the payroll server she'd been granted limited access to. It was read-only. But read was all she needed. Departmental breakdowns. Gender comparisons. Promotion timelines. Then she ran the numbers through her private scripts. No fluff. No filters. Just brutal clarity. Her own salary? $27,500 below departmental average for her role. One male analyst with half her certifications was making nearly double. Another, who regularly passed offer work, had just received a $12,000 performance bonus. And then came the final straw, an internal memo, accidentally forwarded. It discussed a potential layoff list. Her name was on it. No rationale. Just low visibility, limited upward projection. She stared at it, then opened a new email. Subject: Compensation Disparity, Executive Summary. To CFO, HR Compliance. CC, herself. Attachment: Amara Bennett Findings Final. She didn't hit send. Not because she was afraid. Because she was calculating. Email didn't change systems. Exposure did. And Amara Bennett was about to go visible. Friday started like any other. Overpriced pastries, undercooked small talk, and merger speculation swirling around the executive floor. But down in finance, the real tremor had already begun. At 8:02 a.m., CFO Linda Caro opened her inbox. Subject line: Compensation Disparity, Executive Summary. She assumed it was a routine compliance audit, until she opened it. Then her jaw clenched. This wasn't a report. It was a live grenade. Amara hadn't just outlined her own pay gap. She had mapped the company's entire compensation rot. No names, but clear identifiers. Gender, department, tenure. One line was highlighted with a comment. This analyst plagiarized my work. He was promoted. I was not. The document didn't plead. It prosecuted. Linda's eyes locked on cell B14. Amara's salary, $62,000. Two junior male analysts, $88,000 and $84,500. The timestamps showed the spreadsheet had been compiled over 6 weeks. It cited archived job listings, internal memos, policy PDFs. It was cold, verified, weaponized. By 8:37, she had called HR and compliance into an emergency meeting. By 8:52, someone asked the question everyone was thinking. Who else knows? Then they saw it. The CC line. Amara had sent it to herself. That was the crack that split the dam. Because at 9:11, the spreadsheet leaked. First to the anonymous tip line, then to a Slack channel, then on a Twitter. Screenshots, comments, tagged accounts. The spreadsheet went viral by noon. Why is she paid less? Every number screams what we already knew. You build a report. They build careers off it. The board went silent. They couldn't fire her. Not without detonating a PR disaster. They couldn't deny the numbers. Half the company had seen them. So they did the only thing they could. They called for an internal listening town hall. But everyone knew what it really was. Damage control. And Amara? She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Her silence had already gone viral. Wednesday, they called it a culture listening session. Everyone else called it what it was. Damage control. The auditorium buzzed with cautious energy. Screens showed the company logo, but the silence underneath was louder. This wasn't a meeting. It was a reckoning. Amara sat in the second row. Not by choice, but because people kept glancing at her. She hadn't leaked the spreadsheet, but no one cared. She'd built it, and that made her dangerous. David Rennick wouldn't meet her eyes. HR kept fidgeting. Even Linda Caro looked paler than usual. The CFO took the mic first. We're taking concerns about compensation seriously, she said, voice rehearsed, measured. We've engaged a third-party audit. We've created an equity review committee. The words landed like dead leaves. Dry. Procedural. Too late. Then someone stood. A junior engineer. Why did it take a leak for this to matter? Another voice. How many women on this floor make less than the men they train? A ripple of tension spread through the room. Amara didn't flinch. Then Linda turned to her. Amara, she said, would you like to say something? The room snapped to attention. Even the air paused. Amara stood slowly. Her navy blazer looked sharper now. Not armor, authority. I didn't leak the spreadsheet, she began steady. But I built it. Silence. I built it because I was tired of being told to be grateful. While others got promoted for less. I built it because merit meant nothing if you weren't seen. And I built it because silence doesn't protect people like me. It buries us. Pause. Then, I'm not sorry. That's when the first clap broke the silence. Then another. Then more. Not everyone stood, but enough did to shift the room. They weren't applauding rebellion. They were applauding truth. And in that moment, Amara wasn't just the quiet one from compliance. She was the woman who forced an empire to look at itself and flinch. The building felt different, like it had inhaled something sharp and couldn't quite exhale. Amara walked back into the 14th floor. Not much had changed physically. Same desks, same white noise of printers. But people looked at her differently now. Some nodded with quiet respect. Others looked away, like they'd just seen their reflection. Management scrambled. An equity review committee was announced overnight. Guess who they asked to chair it? Amara. No title change. No raise. Just a seat at the table she was once kept from. But not everyone clapped. Grayson, a regional VP, sent a memo to execs. It read, "We've overcorrected for optics. Emotional responses shouldn't dictate financial policy." He meant it to be private. It wasn't. It leaked by noon. Amara read it with her usual black coffee. She didn't rage. She printed the memo, highlighted emotional responses, and pinned it to the 15th floor bulletin board. By lunch, someone had written under it, "Is it emotional if it's been happening for years?" The resistance wasn't just snark. IT flagged an attempted login on Amara's archived emails. An internal breach. Security checked access logs. HR was involved. By Friday, 2 staffers were reassigned. Then Linda called Amara into her office. "You're making waves," she said. Amara sipped her coffee. "Waves make boats move." Linda hesitated, then slid a manila folder across the desk. "The board wants to offer you something formal. Equity and ethics officer. You'd report directly to me." Amara opened it. Salary bump. Influence. Budget. Not just a gesture. Leverage. "It's a trial role," Linda added. "I fought for this." Amara looked out the window. "I'm not here for titles," she said. "I'm here for change. If the title helps, I'll take it." News spread fast. Anonymous surveys exploded. Old cases reopened. Raises once in review suddenly cleared. One department head resigned. Another, Brad from procurement, was put on leave. Amara didn't make speeches. She didn't post online. She just kept showing up. Blazer pressed. Voice steady. Data loaded. Power didn't change her. It revealed her. 3 weeks later, the boardroom looked the same. Same mahogany table. Same skyline view. Same chairs. But the silence? That was new. This was the quarterly executive review. And Amara Bennett wasn't an invitee anymore. She was on the agenda, not tucked in under miscellaneous. She had a dedicated block, 20 minutes. She walked in calm, blazer crisp, coffee cup in hand. Not the assistant, not the note taker, the strategist. Brad's seat? Empty. 2 new faces at the table, both women of color. Legal. Compliance. No one made a speech about it. They didn't have to. The CFO, yes, the same one who once ignored her, stood up as Amara entered. Silent recognition. Her presentation wasn't flashy. No animations. No buzzwords. Just one thing. Data. Slide after slide. She walked them through what had changed. 11% salary gap reduction. Attrition in underrepresented groups down. Whistleblower activity up, but not in fear, in trust. Departmental equity audits underway. No overpromises. No fluff. Just progress. Measurable. Defensible. Then came the moment. Linda, pen in hand, asked, "Any objections to formalizing Amara's position in C-suite strategy?" No one spoke, until Julian leaned forward. "One request," he said. "Change her title. She's not managing damage. She's shaping direction." Pause. "Chief Strategy Officer?" Heads turned to her. She didn't flinch. "Let's get to work." Later, Amara took the elevator alone to the top floor. The executive assistant smiled. "Your office is ready." The nameplate on the door read, "Amara Bennett, CSO." She paused, not from nerves, but reverence. Inside, minimal decor, bright light, one framed photo on the desk. Her and her mother outside their old apartment. The Real Foundation. A cardboard box sat in the corner. Label, Amara, Finance Analyst, 2017. She didn't bring it. Someone had saved it. Inside, her old badge, a spreadsheet printout, a note she wrote herself, once upon a forgotten late night. Be the one who reads every cell. She smiled. Put on a shelf. No post. No selfie. No mic drop. Just a woman who walked into a building designed to overlook her and rearranged its architecture.